Hey guys, and thank you for checking in on the first episode of the From Her View podcast. I'm super excited. So I have been on this journey of podcasting, kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to say, what I wanted to bring to the table that's very different from everyone else. And it was very, very hard for me because at the time, this was during the pandemic, and I was in a career that I was in for 10 plus years at that time. And so that was kind of like for myself solely my identity. And one of the things that we have to understand is that what we do isn't necessarily our identity, it's kind of who we are. And it took me a long time to realize this. So this is 2020, we're in 2024. And God put this in my heart to do it. And, it was very timely. He put a partner in my life that's very encouraging me into, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, who is this guy, God? Like, where did this guy come from? And been very supportive on my journey because he knows that there's so many things that I can do. And one of the things that he tells me all the time, he's like, people underestimate you, but they're stupid to bet against you, or like they don't know what they're doing by underestimating you. And it's facts. I know. So this is from Her View podcast. I'm Sade Camille. I am a mother of two, divorced and dating. And like I said before, I was in an industry for a number of years. Literally drank, ate, bled, sweat this industry, like to the point where I had like an actual thought and was like, man, when I was a kid, like not even a kid, like a teenager, like I loved reading, but everything I've been reading, been digesting, been, ruminating on has been about this industry. Like I didn't even read for recreation anymore. I didn't just like read for fun. I didn't, everything was about this industry. And so my identity was extremely, extremely, extremely tied to this, where my original podcast was Confessions of a Cosmetologist podcast. And I really wanted to share all the knowledge that I learned in this industry. you know, I'm a cosmetologist. I'm a licensed cosmetology instructor. So I have a passion for teaching. And I knew that I could do it if I did it in a platform that, thousands of people had access to versus just me in my one school really trying to impact. Now, I also was a platform artist with a wonderful, 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 wonderful brand that I love dearly, traveling, doing education like regionally, like in my area. And that opened up my eyes too. One of the things I would tell my boyfriend, my partner, is that because he was like like there is something that I would do. I'll talk deeper into that, but he was telling me, you post these prayer cards in your stories, and he's like, I know your stories on Instagram are like jumping off because you post these prayers very consistently, and I enjoy watching them. Like I enjoy watching your stories for this. You should share them in real form. And I was like no, like I don't know, like because for me, my identity was so much tied into cosmetology that I know marketing, branding, business, everything, but from cosmetology. And it really took conversations with him for me to kind of like pivot and being like, hey, I do have something to say in this area and that area and this area and that area. And the things that I learned from this industry, a lot of these things are principle based and applicable to other things. While during, the pandemic, kind of, it was 2022, I actually got diagnosed with a cerebral spinal fluid leak. And that is a nice term to say. I had my brain fluid leaking from my nose, and I had to have brain surgery. So I knew that I was going to be out for the count. I knew I wasn't going to die from the surgery. I knew this wasn't going to be the thing that take me out, because like, a relationship with God, like, you never know the time nor the hour, but you know when it's not the time. Does that make sense? Like, I knew it wasn't the time. I knew that the journey itself was going to be extremely difficult, and it was. But I also knew that this wasn't going to be something that was going to be of harm for me. And I can't wait to share that story with you, because, like, y'all, that story is just, it's a story. But while doing that, we're going through that, the recovery process, I got my real estate license. Because cosmetology sets you up to be able to meet a complete and perfect stranger and have them trust you to provide a service that is image altering. Okay? So it's personal. Also, the purchasing of a home is very personal. And I really want to be a part of industries that are recession proof, industries that are pandemic proof. Cosmetology were one of those first industries to really, really get shut down during the pandemic. And it was so, like, frustrating. So, with that being said, a lot of my colleagues were like, oh, I'm gonna, just go to my client's house and make this money and, pray to Jesus, I'll be good. And then a lot of people were like, okay, well, I'm just going to go work at a grocery store, this and that. I decided to go back to warehousing. I did warehousing, when I was a teenager or whatever. I was like, okay, I'll do that. I actually liked it, like, really enjoyed it, and have been in that industry in conjunction with cosmetology in some way since 20 since the pandemic, honestly. So that's something that I've been doing for the past three, going on, yeah, 3 years, three and a half, three and some change. And it's something that I really liked. One of the things that I understood, if you were paying attention to all those things that were happening in that time, not necessarily the scare tactic media, there's a lot of things happening. And one of the things that I saw was real estate was still booming, logistics, just transportation was still booming, right? We had to have a place to stay. We have things that we need. And those industries did not miss a beat. They did not slow down. Everything in between stopped, but those things did not stop. And that made me open my eyes to say, okay, this is something that I need to be in the mix in. And so I already have my real estate license, literally went through the whole process, have the LLC, the EIN, the business, the everything like that. Right now I'm in a what do you want to call it? A little roadblock, but honestly, it's a mental roadblock. Like, I'll get there. Like, this year is not going to end without me at least making one sale as a realtor, and my partner is going to make sure I make at least one sale as a realtor this year. Like, look, with him, there is no, like, options for that. Like, he really don't want to hear that other stuff. Like, because anything but the right answer is an excuse to that man. So we're not even gonna play with him. He's big king energy. Like, we're not even gonna play. But and I say one because, like, one is a bare minimum, but to him it's like two or three, like two or three, like, I'll be good. But I'm just like, can I just get one? So I'm really excited for that. So I was thinking, okay, for Illinois, it is a huge investment. That's where I live. It is a huge investment to get into real estate. So, like, I already went through the schooling. That's a whole nother story, which I can't wait to, like, share, the full why real estate and everything with you with that. But I got into that industry, and it came down to like, damn, like these starter fees are like expensive as AF. And I am a single mother of two, and my rent is as much as what, this initial investment is. I knew that it was going to be a lot, but when you don't properly plan for things, this is kind of what you're set up for. So um now I'm like, okay, I need to be in an industry that can coincide with real estate, because doing it out the gate, I'm not going to have I need to be more flexible. I need to have the ability that if, a client calls and they want to, like I need to have a little bit of like flexibility to make these calls, to book these appointments, to do those things in a traditional 9 to 5, even something untraditional as like warehousing, where I work overnights. I don't do 9 to 5. So for the most part, like I need a little flexibility. I need autonomy. That's like my main thing is autonomy. I was like, okay, I love logistics. Well, like, what about transportation? Like, transportation is she eating and she leaving no crumbs. Okay, she is all about the greens. Okay, and so I was like, okay, I can do that. And so that is what I'm doing right now. I am close to the end of school for my Class A license, and can't wait to share that story with you, because this is all from her view. It's from the view of a single mother, divorced, dating, transforming careers, finding identity outside of the things that she does, but more of the things that she is. Like, who am I? And that's a conversation that a lot of people are not talking about. We have so many facets to ourselves, right? I am a woman, but I'm also a Black woman, but I'm also a mother, but I'm also a sister, but I'm also a cousin, but I'm also an aunt, but I'm also a friend, but I'm also a girlfriend, and you know I wear all these hats, and all these hats do require certain things from ourselves. But when you are alone, when you have time to yourself, at the end of the day, when you sit alone with yourself, who are you? And I'm here to tell you right now, you're never going to know that without knowing God. It's like my phone, my microphone, my laptop, um, I truly won't ever know all the things that it's capable of doing if I don't confer with the manufacturer. And that's how it is. So I was very thankful for like the time in the pandemic, because I literally got divorced in the middle of the pandemic. So it took a lot of me getting to know myself, being able to like have my like own bedroom and not have to share things. Well, I still share things. I got two teenage kids, and one of them is a girl. And you think it would be the girl that would be getting me all the time, but it's not. It's my son. It's my son. And no, he not like that. He is, he is just that of a different total swag. We're so much alike. Me and my kids are so much that like my kids are like the two sides to my personality, right? Because everyone has the capability of being extroverted or introverted, and it all kind of like ranges and gauges, right? I am an introverted extrovert, where I can be very, very personable with everybody, can blah, 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 be out here like, whoo, 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 smooth, 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 like, hey, how are you doing? But I definitely need my time to recharge. And that is my kids. Like one of my kids is like, yeah, don't talk to me, stranger. And then the other kid is like, literally had made up a nickname for himself. I'm dropping him off at school. The kids calling him by this nickname he had made for himself. And I had to explain to him, like, sir, you don't make the nickname. Like someone made the nickname for you, and then that's your nickname, like I can't make my nickname Dede. Like Dede was just my nickname. That's what they just call me. And honestly, Sade, that's not many nicknames you can get out of that. But I did have a couple of nicknames growing up. Maybe I'll drop all those one day. But you really need to know your identity outside of the things that you do, because there's so many things, you know, that we do. So that's a synopsis of what From Her View is about. It's about all these conversations and thoughts and things that, I have in conversations with my friends, with family, and things of that nature. And it's like, man, like, I'd be having these conversations. I'd be like, damn, this is good. Like, we should be recording this. Like, this would be a good podcast. Because these are some of the things that need to be said from a perspective that is not really being heard from a place of, you know, rationale and not necessarily extremely emotional, even though I'm working on that because I low key be emotional. Like I'm a lady. So sometimes I'll be ruthless, but other times I be in my feelings. But navigating life in a way that really, really, really helps you know who you are. And at the end of the day, it's all about your mindset. So, a lot of the things that we'll be talking about on this podcast is mindsets. I love, 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 love information. I love information. Information is the true currency. Literally, God said, the people perish from the lack of knowledge, baby. And information is exactly what we need. Because if we don't know better, we can't do better. And that's what my whole antithesis is. Like, I really want to bring a space in place for, someone who looks like me, someone who maybe doesn't look like me, but can really take something away from the conversations that I have. So I'm really excited for the next episode. It's a nice little series, because why not do it in series form, where I am going to be talking about some good stuff. So tune into the next episode. Like, share, subscribe, tune in to Her View. You can find me on Instagram at Sade Camille. You can find me on YouTube at Sade Camille 717. Because 717 is just a good year. It's just a good year. If I was wine, I'd be fine wine. But find me in those platforms, and let's get this conversation talking, so I can help you find your view.